live from the Purple Cow Branding Studios.
Welcome to Network Today. I'm Cheryl Powers.
I'm Rob Bliss.
We're here to take you from meeting people to
making money.
And we're going to shorten up that long relationship game. This is a long relationship, but you have to get to money faster, right? So that's what we're here to help you do.
You got to get to the money.
Faster. Faster.
You got to get to the money.
That's right. You got to get to the money. So there is money there. And I know it's so easy to lose sight of that.
It is. I think that's one of the things that people truly forget about. They're there having a good time at the happy hour, shaking hands, telling stories. But
that's right. Well, and I kind of wonder, now that you say it like that, if people feel like networking, like you don't want to sell anybody, right?
Yeah, I know.
So they're afraid to kind of take the next step, or maybe a better equation might be dating, right? They're afraid for the commitment, so they're afraid to say something that's going to go to the next level because then they're kind of like committing.
Yeah.
So one or the other, but.
Well, I think too is that again what we're teaching here in our program, Cheryl, is just the fact of what are we supposed to do at these networking events. And again, it's all about connecting with people, bringing value, and setting up, one-on-ones with them.
That's right. Well, and I'll tell you, so this is a great lead-in to our topic today because it is LinkedIn. LinkedIn. This is going to be a high-level discussion, right? So 30,000-foot view because there's so much we can dive down into and chase. Regards to LinkedIn, so many avenues there, but we're just really going to talk about the high level and why entrepreneurs, business builders, anybody in sales, anybody in business, for crying out loud, needs to be on LinkedIn and needs to be on LinkedIn correctly.
No, absolutely. That's so important because there's so many incomplete profiles out there. I meet someone in a networking group. I want to call Bob Smith up. I didn't get his card because he didn't have any. I go to his LinkedIn profile. No information.
Yeah.
I can't contact him.
Yeah. So, and on really two levels. So it could be somebody that you want to do business with.
Right.
And if your business profile has a nice, fresh background that says what you do concisely in short form with a fresh, updated picture that's not your high school yearbook, then you're more likely to say, hey, that person's on it. That's somebody I'd like to do business with.
Absolutely.
Or if you're the one looking for a job, right? And you haven't updated your profile and there's a business executive, a hirer who's looking at your profile because that's what they're going to do, right?
Yeah.
And if that profile is dumpy, if it's incomplete, if you don't look like you're in it to win it, then I would imagine likely somebody would go with, would you?
Oh, no, absolutely. This is the opportunity. You're creating that first impression, right?
Yeah, that's
and
right.
People, they've got their finger on, if they don't like what they see, click. And so it's an opportunity to stand out.
That's
so
right.
that you can engage them once they go to your profile with a nice banner or a good headshot or a good tagline underneath your name.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so important, Cheryl.
Yes, and that subject matter needs to be relevant and updated.
Yeah.
So the about portion should commensurate with what is said at the top part, right? What you're saying about what you do, and then also in your career section where you're talking about all of your professional skills. It should all correlate because sometimes, or it's confusing to somebody. And if we confuse people, what do? They bail.
They click,
That's right. Click.
And some of the things too is that in designing and writing the content on your LinkedIn profile, by using keywords, people kind of forget about the fact that LinkedIn has that algorithm that when people are searching for things of what you do, your profile will come up first. Yeah. The other side too is it will send, give you links that you can send to your own website. Yeah. So it's such a great marketing tool.
Yeah, it is a great marketing tool. It's my only marketing tool.
Yeah.
For business, honestly, with
absolutely.
exception of my website.
I really look at it, probably back, 5-6 years ago where, I really kind of call it the transition from the 20th century sales approach to the 21st century sales approach. It's digital now. Yeah. LinkedIn is just so powerful.
Yeah.
And there's so much to learn. You can't do other things really. So.
Yeah, that's right. So during COVID, I just had to make a decision.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do I want to make money or do I want to make friends? So I dumped all the friendly stuff, and now just stuck with my professional side, which garnered me a whole new set of friendships.
Well, and it helps you now maintain that friendship for the
Yeah.
long term.
Yeah.
And by by being on LinkedIn every day, by meeting new people, by reaching out to your community.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take all that much time. It really doesn't, guys. I mean, I really time block it out, whether it be 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day. Just do it every day.
Yeah. Well, and that is a super great point, because I hear people say, "Oh, I just don't have the time." I'm like, even if you just did a post one time a week and went into if you did 15 minutes a week, that at least shows if somebody's going to go to your profile, it doesn't say, "Oh, the last time they posted was 2 years ago," right? So at least it says you're relevant and you're current and you're at least participating in the platform.
Yeah.
So that's good. So with that, we've got an incredible guest. You are going to just grab the table, get ready for liftoff. Put your tray tables in their upright position. She's just amazing.
Well, she's so knowledgeable, and she's going to give us some great tips and tactics out there.
Yeah, she is. So get ready. Stick around for that, because it's coming up here in a few minutes. But in the meantime, we've got two things. I want to address this list.
Okay.
All right. So this list that you've got, why use LinkedIn for business, and I don't want to go through all of it because it's going to be on our
Right,
resources,
and our
right?
free resources.
So, but give us one or two of your favorite here, and why use LinkedIn for business.
Well, I think number one is really probably my favorite. Improves brand visibility and reputation. Again, it's that you're putting yourself out there, and again, I encourage people really to do it 2 to 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Again, people have got to see you out there. And again, by seeing, we're looking at I always mention the long term.
Mhm.
So it's not just try it for 30 days, 60 days. I always tell people, you really got to try it for a 12-month commitment.
Yep.
Don't look at all your likes and what your numbers are and what the metrics are and give up early, because people are kind of looking for that. They're wanting to see who's got staying power.
Yeah.
Because they kind of know that when you go get on there and you start posting a few times, but then you don't see the likes, you're going to quit.
Yeah.
And people know that. And so they don't really respond to you yet. You've got to earn that right, Cheryl, to have people then start responding to you.
Yeah. So just use it as a communication tool.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Absolutely. And then people are going to recognize you. Again, that's why your profile banner and headshot and tagline are so important.
Yeah.
So they know what you do and if they want to follow you and so on. So I think from the brand visibility and your reputation that, yes, I am here and I'm going to be staying here.
Yeah. And keep in mind at all times that people are looking at your profile, even when you don't think they are. So I'll tell you what happened to me yesterday, as a matter of fact, when I was at a safety training with one of our transportation club pro drivers, peeps. They're awesome. And they're having this great training. And I walk in, one of the execs from outside of this area says, "Oh, Cheryl, how do you have time for us? Because you're doing all those podcasts I see."
Oh, wow.
Right? So they're watching these things. I've never seen them engage, but I just tell you that keeping that activity in LinkedIn will tell other professionals, hey, that they are in it. They're consistent. They're doing, professional things on LinkedIn, and that will elevate you. We had a different conversation than I would have been had I just been, a helper, or somebody to show up at their event and have a free lunch. So that would have been.
Well, and it goes back to, part of your marketing strategy.
Yeah.
What is your plan to help take your business to the next level?
Yeah.
And if, LinkedIn is just the best B2B platform out there.
Yeah. Well, I love number 10 because it's build your network.
Yes.
And to that point of what I just mentioned, that helped me build that network. And then immediately while I'm there, I posted it, tagged them, and then that exec engaged. Well, if I want to have a conversation that goes a little deeper, right? Now I've got an opportunity to have a conversation I wouldn't have had before.
Absolutely.
Had I not been doing things on LinkedIn consistently at as high a professional level as I can, right?
Yeah.
We can always get better, but there we are. So,
and that's a great point, because I'm doing the same thing. And what I'm trying to do now is cut back on my connections on there. Because, 4 or 5 years ago when we all got started, the big thing was to get over 5,000 connections and all that kind of stuff. But, I don't know 90% of them. And so now I'm drilling down and I'm delete. So I can truly build my network, build my community of people that I want to them to share ideas with them. I want to learn from them, and that how we can help one another. So I think number 10 is very important.
Yeah, it is. And if you go onto Rob's profile and you thought you were a first connection, you find yourself a second. Now you know why. So I'd suggest you reconnect and then genuinely collaborate.
Right.
And, then you'll become a first connection again with
Yeah.
Rob. So, secondly, we're going to, because we've got a lot more to talk about, I want to get to Nickquolette.
Okay.
Little
Okay.
spoiler, because she's coming up as our guest. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about a Grand Slam. I've got a killer one. So excited. So these are our success stories of the week when we come back.
Are you having trouble with your VoIP phone system? Smart Office USA to the rescue. We're a local company here in DFW with real people, certified technicians, and we even come to your office to help you. Smart Office USA, representing the #1 VoIP phone system on the planet. And we are right here in DFW, ready to help you. Call us 214-272-0921 or go to www.smartofficeusa.com.
So my Grand Slam is truly a Grand Slam. This is the beauty of networking, man. You just never know. So can I go first?
You go first, absolutely.
Yeah, I know you like to go first. Well, I like you to go first typically, but I'm busting at the seams on this one because I walk into an event late. And it was with our church. We had this big, like our annual banquet or whatever. And my husband's like, Cheryl, they're serving the food. Are you going to get up here? And I just seen you at the chamber, right? And of course, I'm running late. So I get seated at the table. Everybody else had been chatting. And I sit next to hubby. And then on the other side of me is a gentleman who turns and says, oh, are you his wife? And I said, yes. And they said, are you Cheryl Powers?
Wow.
I was like, yeah. And he says, I'm Craig Goodspeed. Well, I was like, oh my gosh, what in the world are you doing here at our church banquet? And he says, well, my daughter goes to church here. We wanted to come and see what was going on. And so this is where I go to networking is so important. And you just don't know, as long as you kind of stay loosely connected. Like we had a couple of meetings, but then we, just through LinkedIn and I keep him on my email list. And he was one of the ones who said, boy, you sure are doing a lot on LinkedIn.
Right.
But he had been introduced to me back in 2017 by Terry Bennett. Do you remember Terry? Terry was like the ultimate connector, and he's since retired. So he was a fractional CIO.
Okay.
But he connected me with this gentleman who was sitting next to me, and it was just so awesome. I mean, truly, that this metroplex of 7.2 million people, right, through networking, gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
Your community, it just gets so much closer to you. So that was it. So,
I mean, and again, that's the power of networking.
Mhm.
And again, you proved it by the consistency of being on LinkedIn, and he was an observer. And again, those are all the key points that we're talking about on the show here, and that's how you're going to grow and build your network.
Yeah.
Well, my Grand Slam was just last night as well.
Okay.
We were putting on, the event where we saw each other at, and we were so excited about that event.
The event that was Business in the Branch.
Business in the Branch by the Farmers Branch Chamber of Commerce. But again, had a good turnout. And I went and met one of the new members of the chamber. She owns a plumbing company. And I had not met her, so I wanted to welcome her to the chamber. And we were just talking. I was asking her about her business and why she joined the chamber and the name of her company, My Local Plumber. And then we started talking about what I did and so on. And then when I mentioned I did IT support, her eyes lit up. She says, oh my gosh, we need one so bad. And can you come and see me tomorrow? And oh my gosh, I love this chamber. You're doing all these good things. And so it was just so fun again of first of all, we just talked about, what her company did, how I could help her, what, her background was. Tell me a little bit about that. And then it was just slowly working into it.
Yeah.
And boom, got an appointment, and it looks like we're going to turn some business into that. So
wow. So you could take an out in the park type
Yeah.
situation like you had yesterday and just make it an out in the park thing where you're having cotton candy and
Yeah.
you're looking dogs and playing cornhole.
Yeah.
That was so fun. But you are intentional about finding a little bit out about, having a real conversation.
Right.
And then where there's a connection, then voila.
Well, Cheryl, we're not supposed to sell at these events,
Yeah.
and we're kind of scared.
Yeah.
And so we're really very careful. But you know what? You've got to be intentional, because that's what networking is about. And there's nothing wrong with bringing it, if you kind of slowly bring it into the mix here. Talk about them first. Ask what their pain points, how you can help them, how can you give them referrals, and so on. Very soft approach. Yeah. And then when they then come back to you and ask questions, it's them initiating it.
Yeah.
They're asking questions. So again, don't be afraid of asking for an appointment or whatever right then the first time you meet. Just kind of focus on them at first, then bring your what you value you can bring to them up.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. That's good. I love that story.
So it was awesome. I mean, that's what I love about networking game, because they've got a pain point.
That's right.
They need this fixed.
Yep.
And I know we can do it. So.
That's right. Okay, so when we come back, it's the amazing Nickquolette Barrett.
Oh man, I'm so pumped up to hear her.
Let's face it, employees waste time on the company dime. Why? Life's complicated. We help keep the junk of life out of the workplace and in the hands of the experts. Empowered Advantage, empowering employees, giving businesses the advantage. Letter M as in magnificent, poweredadvantage.com.
All right, if you haven't laughed in a while, get your belly ready, because this is gonna be good. We got Nickquolette Barrett in the house, and nobody makes me happier when she walks in the room than you do. I just you just like dripping happiness.
Yes,
you got a happy necklace, you got a happy face. I mean, she's just awesome. So you want to get to know Nickquolette, and thank you, Rob. You're the one who brought her into my life.
I know it, man. It was a couple of months ago where I met Nickquolette at a networking event of Dallas Lunch and Learn with Lynn Barrett, our good friend Lynn Barrett.
No relation.
No relation.
Everybody thinks that.
And she was the guest speaker that day on LinkedIn, and she just blew me away, Cheryl. I mean, she was, number one, so entertaining, so funny. But again, the point was, LinkedIn is such a powerful sales tool that we have so much to learn, and she's brings it down, simple, concise, and gives us the tips and tricks that we need to do to increase our business.
That's right. So before we dive into this, please spell your name so everybody can connect with you on LinkedIn.
Yes, I am literally the only one with this name on LinkedIn and including Facebook. So it's spelled Nickq. And we usually get to the Q, you'll pull me up. And then it's UOLE. T as in Tom, E, 12 letters.
Wow.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But make sure you do not make the mistake of saying Nickquolette, because that's not it. It's Nickquolette.
Yes, Nickquolette.
Right?
Yes.
And it's Barrett.
Yes,
right?
last name is Barrett, Barrett.
All right. Okay,
Yes.
so this is going to be good, because you actually are a national trainer for people on how to write on LinkedIn,
Yes.
resumes, banner ads, content,
Yes.
all of that. So she's gifted in that area, which most of us are not, right? I know what I want, but I don't say it very well. So that's where you come in.
Yes, that's my specialty.
So one of the reasons Rob and I wanted to bring you in for this, because LinkedIn has so many levels, right?
Yeah.
This is a high level discussion, because unfortunately, this is crazy to me, but there are so many people who aren't on LinkedIn who call themselves professionals.
Yeah.
Case in point, we were talking about this off camera, that last night I'm at an event. I kid you not, Rob. You'd be like, "What?" Your hair would be like what? I kid you not, that out of the room of probably 40 or 50 women, I bet 10, maybe 15 were active on LinkedIn.
Oh my gosh.
So I walked around and told them with their QR code. I made them download the app, showed them where the little QR code that you could share. I mean, truly, it was the basic 101 stuff. So we can't assume
Yeah.
that people
You're
know the
right.
value of LinkedIn. So why should a professional use LinkedIn?
Number one, because you say you are a professional.
Well, Good start.
Because many people these days are not asking for business cards. They're asking you to connect on LinkedIn. So you really need to make sure that you're not only on LinkedIn, because I have some people, I did a profile years ago, I haven't visited it, but you really need to be active on LinkedIn because that's how people look you up, want to know how they can connect with you. And the key word is network with you because you never know. People, especially business professionals, always think that LinkedIn is only for jobs.
Right.
And that's the old way when they first came out. That's
Yes.
where you had to be to get a job. It's not about that. And I also liken it to be, you can get a job, meaning you can get a client. That is a job, right? If you can get a client from there, that's why it's so important for everybody to be on on LinkedIn.
And those are great points, Nickquolette, but also we got to emphasize to these people, fill out your contact information.
Yeah.
So you do have your email address. So many times I've gone to contact information.
Nothing there.
Nothing there, and I can't get hold of you. Boom, crazy.
And they don't look at their LinkedIn messages.
No.
Right.
Oh my gosh. And I have to warn some of my clients about that. I say, okay, when you're asking people to do recommendations for you, don't get your feelings hurt that they haven't responded to you right away because not many people are responding because they're not on LinkedIn. I said, so you may have to go through the back door and email them. I said, so don't get your feelings hurt, but also send them to me so I can help them.
There you go.
Right.
There you
That's
go.
right. So let's again, going back to the basic LinkedIn 101.
Yeah.
What should be in a banner ad, just generally speaking? Because when people go there, how many seconds did we talk about people are going to determine?
We got like 5 seconds
At
before
best,
they click again. Boom.
Yeah. So what should be in that bar?
Their value statement.
Okay.
They really need to put in their value statement. What I used to see and still sometimes see, people get so into their job titles. People don't really care about that until you can show them what you can do for them.
Right.
So what is your value proposition? How do you help someone? Then they can say, oh, by the way, this is my title.
Okay.
That's what they need to do.
Okay. So value proposition here, picture next to it.
Yes.
Should be a good LinkedIn picture from
Right.
Rob.
Not a cutoff with an arm and no.
Or yearbook photo.
Yeah,
I still see people with a
gosh.
high school yearbook
Yes,
photo in
or
there.
glamour shots.
Yeah, it's-
I have seen the glamour shots and no.
Like the wind in their hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sanfier's pan flute. No, not good. So then below that, that's where they put their position, their
Yes.
company position, right?
Yeah, and they can do that, and what they have to be creative because it gives you so many characters with that statement. You want to make sure that they know why you're the best fit for that. How can you help them? How can you be of value to them? How you can connect them to other things? So you make sure that you're selling them, but not selling them by telling them what is your value. And that's why it's so important to have that right front and center before they read anything else.
Now, how about, are you, one of the new features on LinkedIn is the cover story. Are you a fan of that? Is that, what's your personal
What
opinion?
is the cover story? Let's not assume that people
Well,
know.
we'll try. She's the expert. I'm going to let her explain that.
The cover story is good. I have not utilized it because I think it's like, for me right now, it's not as valuable as words. Because again, I am a wordsmith.
You're a wordsmith.
And I want to see words. And I'm going to make sure that, okay, you could get on there and say anything, but what are you really telling me? Because after that is done, what are you going to say?
But what
And
is
how
done? So you have to tell me what this is.
The video.
Oh, the video. Okay.
Yeah.
The
It's like
video
their
on the back of
video
your-
commercial or what have you.
You got 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So
Video commercial on behind your headshot.
yeah,
Yes.
so there's your little picture, and then when somebody goes
Clicks
to your
on it.
page, I don't even know if they have to click on it. Don't they just hover
Well,
over it?
Sometimes
Yeah,
it just
they can hover.
start. Yeah, it'll just start, and that's cool. But for LinkedIn, it's also kind of like, oh,
Yeah. You scared me.
It's like what? No, but I mean, sometimes especially people don't always can hear that if they're scrolling, they're in a public place. They really just want to see the words.
Right,
so
right,
to me,
right.
the wording is
Okay.
first, and then if they have time, they'll go back to
Sure,
the cover story.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
So the about part.
I just get so tickled about the about part. Yes.
And so it should be full.
Mm-hmm.
Should it be short sentences? Should it be bullet points? What should it be?
All of that. Okay, so I've seen dense text, and it's like how people just wrote a big old paragraph about everything that they are, and it's like, what is this? And what you have to do is make it easy on the eye, just
Okay.
like I do for a resume. I am making sure that the recruiters, hiring managers, even whoever is looking at that and can pick up that information
Okay.
immediately.
Okay.
Right.
So using the bullet bullets, using the short statements, and of course using the I because you want to make sure that they're engaging with you.
Right.
It's not the same as a resume where you use the implied I, me, or my.
Yeah.
You want to say I, and then you want to make it engaging. There's so many great different types of bullets that you can use to make the information stand out. And then you have to think about, what do I really want my audience to know? And then make it pop.
This is a great point because I read some of those and they're in third person, and I'm like, well, this is weird. It's your page. Like,
Yes.
is this fake? Like, did somebody put this up for you?
And what I see a lot of people, they take the information from their resume and they just plop it in there. And that's not what you're supposed to do. Your resume is one thing, but your LinkedIn page is your brand. You want them to know who you are as a person, and not just what even you bring to the table. Because I've seen people put in all kinds of stuff. Well, I went to this school and I did this. And I'm like, okay, that's good. That's talking about how great you are.
Yeah.
But how can you help me?
Yeah.
What makes you different?
Yeah.
I have people put in the fact that they are line dancers because, hey, you may connect with somebody who does line dancing, or my hobby is gardening. You know, you have to make it personal so people can see who you are beyond the information. And it's about connecting.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Do you have curling on yours?
I don't. I need to put that on there.
Busted.
You could.
My homework assignment. My homework assignment this weekend.
Yes, you could. And that is absolutely fabulous that you put something like that on there, because therefore they're seeing you as a real person.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
I like
Because I
that.
get a lot of people, not the vast majority, but I have a lot of people who say, oh, I stopped at your LinkedIn, or I found you because of your voiceover work, right? Because I come out of radio. Right. Now I still do some of that, but I don't promote it, right?
Yeah.
That's not my business anymore. But it's still fun, right? You can't take that part out of you.
Yes.
And so, but it is a fun point and it's a discussion point, right? It's a relationship point.
Exactly.
So with that, how valuable is a LinkedIn relationship?
Oh my gosh, to me, okay, I see I took that breath. It is so valuable because it's beyond any other type of social media. It's a social network used for professionals. And so if you're looking to make connections, get information, learn, grow your business, get another opportunity, whether it be a job or even a business opportunity, you need to be on LinkedIn. You will be surprised at what can come your way simply because, number one, you're active and you're engaging with other people, because you never know who knows who.
Yeah.
And then you can put yourself out there, and then of course it will reward you. Like any social media, the more active you are, the more your information will come to the top. So therefore people can see you.
That's super true.
Yes.
I'm going to drag you around to every one of my events, because the one last night, you'd have been like, oh, girl. No. Because here's what came up. They're like, but we're all on Instagram. And I'm like, really? And I said, this is just me. And I'm just walking from table to table. I'm getting to know people. I'm finding out who's on LinkedIn. Let's make sure we're all connected. And I'm like, so here's what I did. During COVID, I'm like, I want to be committed to building my professional relationships. I bagged Facebook. I bagged Twitter. I bagged Instagram out. I was never on TikTok, so I didn't follow that. So I use Eventbrite to market everything professional, and then I do I build my relationships through LinkedIn. And now you have a LinkedIn family, and where they're like, really, like, you have fun on LinkedIn? I said, fun without the ridiculous mess stuff. Right?
Yes, exactly. Yes, and I'm so glad that you said that, because one of the things that I found, I had to do an audit of all of my social media. And I have been doing Facebook Lives for years. Facebook Live, and then LinkedIn. I think I was the very first career practitioner that was granted LinkedIn Live. And a lot of people were like, how did you do that? I said, well, I've been on Facebook forever. So they just kind of, checked me out. That's why I got it before some of you who've been in the business longer. But that's what it was. But what I found, when I did an audit of all of my clients and connections, especially the referrals and everything that I get, they came from LinkedIn. So guess what I did? I said, forget that. Yeah, I still do it, get on there, but I don't pay attention to Facebook. I don't pay attention to I have not gotten one client off of Instagram. I have a presence on all of it because my name is unique. I rock resumes. I want to keep my own, territory. But the majority of my business, number one, LinkedIn, and then I get a few Facebook because, you have a presence and people know you're on Facebook. But LinkedIn is where it is.
Absolutely.
Came from the expert. Right? Yes. So ask the others if you're truly dedicated, especially if you're time constrained, right? We're all time poor. So do your time to build your business in the Business Builder LinkedIn, right?
Yes, I love that because I have it on there, but I have to remember to go back to Instagram and say, oh, like something. I'm like, I don't care about that. If it's LinkedIn, because I know the engagement and also I enjoy the level of people that I'm able to engage
me too.
with. So that is so powerful to me.
Yeah.
And like you said, LinkedIn family. Oh my goodness. I have such a huge family because of the engagement and entertainment, not entertainment from that perspective, but information and being able to really grow together.
Yeah.
On Instagram, that's not my medium. That is not my audience.
Yeah.
So maybe our next discussion with Nickquolette, and I'm just throwing this out here like live on the air, is that we talk about how to build a LinkedIn family.
Oh, yes.
Because
great
not everybody
topic,
understands how to do that. So maybe that would be a really good topic.
That would
you
be
open for it?
Yes, I'm definitely
Okay.
open for it because when you go to these events, these major events, they're like, yeah, we've been talking about LinkedIn forever. We act like we know each other forever because we've been connected on LinkedIn. So, are you going to this event? I want to meet you in person. And that is, oh my gosh, it's so wonderful. I'm actually getting chill bumps because I met so many great people that way. It's absolutely
I
phenomenal.
got to ask you this question
Yes, sir.
before we leave, is the fact that in the beginning when we got on LinkedIn, we need to have thousands of connections. Now I'm hearing we really need to have less is more, that we kind of got to go into our connection list and start deleting people that we have no what would you recommend on
And
that?
I want you to be strategic with that because, you don't want to just have people just because. And one of the things I think I mentioned when I did the actual talk is if you initially did all of that because you're connected with everybody because it was a number and you remember the Facebook thing you had to get to a certain number, you had certain status, like whatever. And so, but you really want to be, if I'm not in, I'm going to use real estate, for example. So if I'm in real estate, it makes sense for me to connect with interior designers, construction people, what have you.
Sure.
So therefore, I'm going to make sure I maintain that. But if I am now a executive coach, executive resume writer, speaker, and all that kind of stuff, I don't necessarily need to connect with a construction person.
Yeah.
Now, if he has a construction company where he needs some leadership training, then I'm your girl. So then you have to figure out where is it in those connections that can bring me some value. And also, am I even talking to them?
Yeah.
So you do want to dwindle down because it is about less is more because then you're more intentional about your interactions
Good.
than just having, people on there just because.
Good.
Man.
Good.
Okay, so I got like a list of questions and discussion points like this already. So we are definitely going to keep this conversation going.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Yin?
Absolutely.
Okay.
2 thumbs up.
Gotta do my little
That's
dance.
right. So, Nickquolette,
Yes.
you know what I'm going to ask?
Yes.
A little known fact about yourself
Yes.
that nobody else knows that would bust out the headlines right here.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you about this name. This name, Nickquolette, came from a Japanese nurse that was studying in the United States in Mercy Hospital in Chicago, Illinois. My name was going to be Nicole, but the nurse told my mom, no, name her this, and she spelled out the name. And I even still to this day have the kimono picture that she made me. My mom said she fell in love with me at the hospital and basically kept me for the whole 2 weeks. Back then they used to be in a hospital for 2 weeks. And she said, I barely had you, but she kept you the whole time and just took to me and gave me that name. So here it is, a Japanese nurse gave an African-American mom a French name. And my grandmother said, she's going to go through her whole life was trying to spell that name and explaining it. I said, yeah, mama, she right. And the unique thing about it is that if you look up that name, there's nobody on LinkedIn with that name. And there's 860 million people on there to date. And even on Facebook, unless if you see someone on there, it's because I've given that name to so many different mothers. Oh, I love that name. I want to give that to my daughter or something like that. But there's nobody out there. Go look it up. I'm the only one.
Wow, that's awesome. That's
What
great.
an amazing
That's great.
legacy that
Wow.
Japanese nurse passed
sure
along.
did. Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what a pleasure. You can see why you want to connect with her. So
Come on, y'all.
LinkedIn is the one. Do you have a website you like people to go to? or-
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. You can find anything about me, irockresumes.com, irockresumes with the S.com.
Okay, I love it. I
All
love
right.
it. And we want some more of it. So, all right. So Nickquolette Barrett, she's the master on LinkedIn. Connect with her, and we will talk with her again soon. So did you get a good belly laugh?
Wow. Rolling on the floor.
I know. She's such a hoot. I mean, who doesn't want to be around that? Life, right? I like life.
Such energy.
That's right. So, and she brings that energy to LinkedIn.
Yeah.
That's why it was so great to have her discuss why we need LinkedIn as a professional, that it should be basic. Entering the business professional world, it should be the rite of passage is to have your LinkedIn profile. Like, you shouldn't be able to be in business especially as an entrepreneur, right, without having a LinkedIn profile.
Well, and again, you've got to know the 21st century cold call.
Yeah.
This is your best number one prospecting tool that's out there.
Yeah.
And this is geared for, obviously, to salespeople. And for me, that's why I time block every day 1 hour of time for my prospecting through LinkedIn.
You do? What time of day? What's best for you?
It's in the afternoon.
Okay.
I figure in the morning, everyone's got their to-do list. They got to crunch it out. And then they have a nice lunch. They come back to the office. Again, they're a little bit more relaxed. So that 1 to 3 time frame is I like to do my prospecting.
So when Nickquolette was talking about what needs to be on that page, let's equate that to your prospecting time, right? So because we're all doing it, right? We're all prospecting through LinkedIn. What is something that tells you, hey, that's a person I want to get to know better, I want to create a connection with? What are those things that really jump out on the LinkedIn page for you?
When I'm going through profile, again, it's looking at their profile. Do they have a professional headshot? Do they have a professional banner? Can I see from the banner what they do? Because if I see the Dallas skyline, it's click.
Really?
Really?
You're out that fast?
I'm out that fast. I mean, I don't know what they do. And again, this is hard, cold calling, prospecting time where I only have a certain amount of time to do and a certain limited number of calls. Obviously, in other circumstances, when I'm doing research and so on, I'll go beyond the banner picture. I'll drop down to their tagline and see if I can see something that catches me there. But those are the key: your banner and then your tagline, the keywords to captivate me.
Yeah, and I have to say that, to your point, having a fresh-looking banner, and we didn't even dive into how often you need to change it, like how often all that stuff needs to be updated to keep it fresh. But because you all have helped us at Empowered Advantage create a fresh-looking logo, a fresh design, a fresh look, it could have just stuck with the same old stuff, right? And kind of force-fed people into that. But now people find me, right? So I bet I've grown probably just the last year a good another 50%, right? And that becomes exponential.
Yeah,
like one thing on top of another. And I know everybody. I do not connect with somebody without getting to know them.
Right.
So
I know. I think that the profile refresh is important as well too. It lets people know that you're a professional, go-getter.
Yeah.
You're active. You're an expert in LinkedIn,
Yeah.
and so they looked at you as wanting to follow you because you set the trend and so on.
Yeah. That's absolutely right. Nickquolette just brings so much to the table for
I
this.
got so many questions here, like you said. I needed to ask her.
That's
Oh
right.
my gosh!
So,
We got
my
to have-
list, your list, our long list. So we'll definitely keep the conversation going. Nickquolette, thank you for being the bright spot in our afternoon today. We appreciate you and can't wait to have you back.
A small business is still a business. At Purple Cow Branding, we want to help you execute your greatest visions for your company. Purple Cow works for small businesses that don't have big budgets to spend on their marketing efforts. Inquire now at purpleCowBranding.com to be the biggest little guy around. Purple Cow Branding, much more than digital marketing.
I am just so refreshed when I'm around her.
She is so exuberant. I mean, she is so motivational, but she's so smart
Yeah.
about LinkedIn.
Yes.
And man, her tips today were awesome.
Yeah, they absolutely were. And I have to tell you that I use LinkedIn for my networking, like in-person networking connections. And I don't know that everybody knows that, but that's just one of the great things, like, the e-card, the e-business card, right? So I use this, and if you haven't seen one of the tech tools, I use that LinkedIn search bar, right? You tap on that, you get a little QR code, and you can scan it in.
Use that every
That's
day.
right. But then you go to a profile that's refreshed and pertinent and relevant, then all of a sudden you've got I would guess a 90% greater chance of making magic happen out of that relationship versus a dud. So let's take you from a dud to a stud. So,
And and that's going to tell you a little bit about that person, and do you want to have them be one of your connections. Is that going to be a good referral source for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
Well, and one of the things I do want to touch on is having a second set of eyes look at your profile and give you good, honest feedback is so important. And it's not always easy to take that feedback, but
Right.
it's really important. And I know you change your profile often,
Yes.
actually.
Yeah, yeah. Well, again, it's keeping it fresh. When you're developing again your online reputation, you want to let people know that you know what you're doing, that you're bringing value, because it's not just stale all the
Yeah,
time, right?
yeah, that's right. Well, how often should we change our picture, do you think?
Oh, I would say anywhere from 3 to 6 months. Anywhere from 2 to 4
Wow.
times a year.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So what's a bad picture?
A bad picture is a picture of you on vacation with your dog in the picture, your high school picture.
How do you feel about business people with their kids in the picture?
You know, I know where that's going. It shows you're a family person, and that's important. But really, the experts, Cheryl, are saying that this is a professional business platform.
Yeah.
Just do it on yourself.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, so maybe when you reach that pinnacle in life where you're like, hey, I've made my millions, I'm into my billions, and don't really care, right? So,
Right.
And now I just want you to buy my book or whatever, right? So,
Right.
I totally get that.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I'm always so impressed, especially, I'm telling you, if you're young and you're really trying to build your network and maybe you're constantly looking for new opportunities or you want to elevate yourself within a company, I always lean toward that really professional, vibrant, fresh
Yeah,
picture.
absolutely. Yeah.
If that's what I see versus somebody like you said, they're like, yeah, bocce ball, right?
Right.
I'm like, oh, hey, that was fun and nice, but it says nothing to me about the fact that you're serious about business.
No,
So,
no, absolutely. I think it's a great point, and I really do. I look at the profile, I look at the banner, the headshot, and it gives me. And again, it might not be true, but it's that first impression.
yeah, yeah. It is even better when you have a one-on-one person and then they show up kind of looking like that too.
Yeah,
So, right.
yeah.
So that's good. That's good. So, action items.
Well, I'm going to go off first with what we're talking about. Refresh your profile. It's a must, guys. You've got to keep it fresh. And one of the most important is go to the contact information and make sure all your contact information is there. Your email address. You want to have your website there. I would put your office number, not maybe your personal cell phone, but your office number, email address. You got to have it on there.
And here's just a tip, because a lot of people don't want to put their email address on there because they get so much spam, and then LinkedIn sends all those notifications. So I have a separate company email address that's on there that I check a couple of times a week, right? So
That's
it's not
a great idea.
right. So that way it doesn't fill in the inbox of my primary
Right.
email. So that's just a thought.
That's
and
a
then
good tip.
And it's a great tip too on using a company phone. So I like my 3CX phone,
Yeah.
right? So because it also buzzes through to my cell phone, so
Right.
it's seamless.
Right.
But some people use their Google phone. But you can find another phone number. But putting that cell phone number out there is going to give you a lot of those spam calls.
Yeah.
So just saying. But I had a situation, and I won't name who it is. Case in point, on somebody I had met at a networking event this week, wanted to feature them at another event and really promote what they're doing. And I go to their LinkedIn. They said, "Are you on LinkedIn?" "Yes, I'm on LinkedIn." So I go to LinkedIn and I look under their contact. Nothing. Their business card didn't have their email address. Oh my gosh. So,
Well, that happened to me last week too, Cheryl. Is that I was at a networking meeting. Someone needed I can't remember exactly what it was. So I said, "I know the guy for you." Went to his LinkedIn, no information.
wow. Yeah. So, and it doesn't help if you just have your LinkedIn, like, because I'm here. I
Right.
know. So that's it. All right. Number 2.
Number 2, post frequently and like frequently.
But not just like.
Well, no, make
React.
a comment. Leave a comment.
Leave a comment and react.
Yeah, I mean, so important again is, you're engaging with the community. People are going to see what your activity is like on LinkedIn, and they're going to know that this is a professional. This is someone that you want to, develop a stronger relationship with.
Yeah, and I don't know too much about the LinkedIn algorithms, but I do believe that the more you engage and moving beyond the like, so the
Right.
reaction meaning you celebrate,
Yeah.
you love
Right.
with a little heart, whatever that is, right? So it's something beyond just the thumbs up is a reaction, and you will begin to be referred to others
Yes.
more often in
Mhm.
that right hand side where it
Right.
says,
Yeah.
hey, other people you might want to meet. Number 3.
Clean up your connections. Less is more.
That's
Yeah.
right. Just kick them out. Now I have to say, when you say 90% of the people you don't know, I'd say I've got, I don't know, at this juncture, 3,587, I think was this morning. My connections. I know most of them.
Well, that's darn good.
I don't accept anybody that is outside of DFW or is not industry specific, like close to
Right.
something that I would do.
Yeah, I didn't
So-
do that. So I started the wrong way.
You're like, I'm going to date everybody on LinkedIn. So that's right. That's funny. But it is important. And that way you can engage. And then I go through and I personally message all my new LinkedIn peoples, and I let them know where we met. That's another key thing, I think, when you're making sure that your connection list is
Right.
clean,
Right.
so that you put that point of connection so that when you go back a year later and you're like, where do we meet? There we go.
Yeah.
Right. So there it
Yeah.
is. And that's a whole nother training on how to use the LinkedIn and make sure you create a community that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So next week,
Oh, we got a good one, Cheryl. One of my favorite people, Joe Thompson.
love her.
Oh man, matter of fact, she sent me a referral this week. And I love her. I follow her on LinkedIn, like her post and so on. And she's got some great information about referral intros.
Yes, because there's a magic to it. There's an art.
Yes,
and
there
she's
is.
developed it. She's just lovely and graceful, and you really want to emulate what she does if you want to have really positive referral feedback. So that'll be good. That'll be next week.
Yeah, fun one.
That's right. So, all right, you want to make sure you subscribe. info@networktodaydfw.com. The reason you want to subscribe is so that every week you don't have to go find our latest episode.
Right.
They actually come to you in your inbox, and they come along with Rob's library.
Rob's library. Cheryl's tech tools.
That's right. That's right. And the library are reviews. So he actually reads the books. So, which is like this one. Did you read that book? Great at LinkedIn?
Yeah, I have not finished the whole thing, but I probably about 90% through it. It's a great book. I highly
All
recommend
right.
that.
We're going to get a review on that
Yeah,
one?
we're going to get a review on that next week.
All
And
right.
again, and the free resources that we have, boy, it's getting bigger now, Cheryl. We got some good information up there.
Deep and wide.
I think we can do a book.
Hey!
You know what? I think we'll be able to do a book on that. Yes.
All right. I love it. And we'll be back next week. Network Today, where we take you from meeting people to
Making money.
This has been a Purple Cow production.